what's real and what's just smoke in the wind. Down here in Texas, we've heard the whispers. They say a president fell in Dallas and the truth got buried with him. They say men walked on the moon, but some folks swear it was all lights and cameras. There's talk of secret deals in desert towns of flying saucers hiding where the tumbleweeds roll. They say the truth is out there, but out here under these white Texas skies, we know the truth ain't free. It's locked up tight behind steel doors and silver tongues. So saddle up, 'cause tonight we're diving deep. Dust on the highway, neon signs glow, stories in the shadows that nobody knows. From the oil fields to the old ghost towns, truth rides the wind, but it never slows down. Deep dive facts, where the shadows talk back. In the heart of Texas, truth rides the cracks. Dig through the dirt, past the lies and the tracks. We're chasing down secrets. Deep dive facts. They talk about.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Beyond the Box in our deep dive edition, or deep dive facts edition, that we're going to be bringing here to the channel. Let me go ahead and bring everybody out. We got Chad. Hi, Chad. Oh, geez, what am I doing? You're muted, Chad. He's like, that figures.
I was just asking why my box wasn't lighting up.
Because you weren't talking.
Oh, I was talking.
How
I was
you
just
been?
muted. Oh, I've been doing well, thank you. Yes.
Good.
Yes, thank you. Sorry, I'm just trying to get my chair closer, and it's I don't know what it is. It just keeps wanting to roll back on me.
Oh,
I need
Let
to
me
put like
get-
a rug under it or something like that, but no, everything's going just fine.
that's good.
Yeah.
Let me get Sherry. Hi, Sherry.
Hi, Brenda. Hi, Chad.
Hi, Sherry.
So, Sherry, how you been?
I've been cold. It's cold up here.
Yeah, we hit the cold spell and then ice, and then things just didn't want to work, and so we're starting to thaw out now, but we're going to be going through another cold spell. So,
Yeah, I guess
Yeah.
in North Carolina, my friends got 10 inches of snow.
oh no, that's bad.
Yeah, they got more than what they were supposed to. So I'm like, oh, it's they pre-warned us that we were
Yeah.
going to have a bad winter. So
Yikes.
They were our governor was putting out like the week before, because they knew it was going to be bad for us too. Which I mean, half the time our groundhog is in a bar drunk somewhere, so we can't really even go by that. We have such bipolar weather here. It could be 21 degrees at night, and then it's going to be 70 during the day.
oh,
So
geez,
it's so kooky. But
get people sick that way.
yeah, so they put out a warning almost a week ahead, told everybody, get out, get your groceries, get everything you need, just in case. So we did exactly that, which I'm glad we did, because for like 3 days, we couldn't even leave this house, period.
Wow.
It was nothing but ice after ice. And I wanted to take the garbage out, and Jack's like, Brenda, I'm not taking it out there. I'm going to slip and bust my ass. And I said, well, maybe I can take it. And he said, you're going to go out there. You're going to get stuck on the ice. You're going to slide down. Nobody's going to be able to get to you. We'll have to call a fire truck. And I'm like, right?
Yeah, that's not good.
So we had to wait for it to thaw. And then, of course, here we have Chad who didn't get that kind of weather.
No, he's on the West Coast. He's lucky.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No,
No,
no.
don't be sorry.
Yep.
When Chad was texting me, he's like, "Don't hate me. I'm sitting outside in the sun."
I know, right?
Well,
Rub it in, Chad.
I'm in 11 degrees weather. It's
So
like,
tonight, guys, what we're going to do is we are going to bring to life some facts on the old Titanic sinking. And some of the things that we discovered. Well, Chad discovered some really nice stuff about them saying different things, the people that they were interviewing, same people saying different things. So it's going to be left to the discretion of what do you think when we're done. And this is probably going to be a 2-part show, maybe. So if it is, that's okay, because we'll do the second part on Tuesday night. If not Tuesday night, we'll have something else, I believe. But this one here, when we did it before, it was an extremely long show. Was it this one, or was it Jeffrey Dahmer that was really long?
no, it's
That one.
Jeffrey Dahmer.
Was it the Jeffrey Dahmer? Yeah, but
Yeah.
we can't show that stuff we did on Channel 12 with Jeffrey Dahmer because we can't show the autopsy picture photos and the body photo parts and stuff.
I'm good
It's-
with that.
I sure is like, okay.
Chad was fine too. He just wanted to get done with it.
Oh, well, that's because it's such a sore subject sometimes, but
It's a sore subject, but we needed to cover it because the conclusion,
yeah.
that we came to with it is, and it wasn't just him. I mean, that was just part one of part.
Yeah,
of part,
it
yeah.
was-
So
It was the
yeah.
others. Yep. Mm-mm. But all right, so we're going to get started here on the Yeo Titanic. And you all know this story that, it set sail and
1912.
yeah, and it hit an iceberg supposedly,
Mhm.
and it sunk. Well, the thing of it is what happened prior to that was bank meetings, okay, involving J.P. Morgan and the Rothschilds. They had met up with some very prestigious, very rich people, and they wanted to start doing the banking system, but the rich people did not want to do it the way that JP Morgan and them did. They didn't want to get into federalizing banks. And they got on that ship to leave, and their wives, supposedly. And JP Morgan was supposed to be on that ship that night, and at the last minute, him and his wife canceled. They did send, who was it, Chad? The big wig at
Sherry's good with those names, right, Sherry?
I was. I don't know.
Astor, is it Astor? Is it John S. or John
I
or
don't have
John
my
Astor?
sheet anymore. I think I got rid of it. I had all
well,
the dates.
Sherry. That's
I know,
okay.
shame on me.
They-
I didn't know
they
we were going
said-
to do this again.
They sent they sent the
Guggenheim,
second, not the
Astor.
owner. Yeah, not the owner of the Titanic, but like his right hand man. They sent him out
Yeah,
there
they
on
sent
that
him
ship.
and his wife because he said it was going to be a really good deal to go while he had supposedly cancer, is what it
Right.
was, or a bad
Yeah.
illness, and so he couldn't go. So he sent, he talked him into it.
Now, and then on top of that, we all know the story about the Olympic, who was the sister ship to the Titanic. It was not very seaworthy anymore. And he needed to get rid of it, so to speak. And of course, in the conspiracy of
Okay.
it, getting, but
This is the separate theory than the one we just discussed. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
That
'cause
one,
and-
the ship needed to be sunk because there was elites on there.
Yeah, it was in an accident. The Olympic was in an accident. It hit another ship or something like that, and
Yeah,
so it
like a
was in
barge.
repairs. Yeah, and the captain of the Olympic was the captain of the Titanic. So
Yep.
I think what happened is the Olympic went to leave, and because of the way the water pulls and stuff, it was flipping all the other ships around, and they were all coming at it, kind of, or something like that was happening with it, and one of them hit it.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. So let's get started on our information that we have. What do we got first? Chad, do you want to do the videos?
Sure, because I mean, this really is going to come down. There is no answer. We can throw out there.
Right.
There's theories of what happened, and then there's theories of why it happened, um and then there's the story. Then there's the story we were told. So we'll just kind of break it down little bits at a time, and just kind of present it, so we can come to a better conclusion towards the end, because I've also shifted my belief on it just a little bit, but we'll see. But I think we should start with some of the, like you're saying, like some of just to get a recollection of what it was like back then, because people back then were a little bit different.
Yeah.
Life was a little bit different. People fought a little bit different, and so we can't gauge this like on how we would react in that situation. People were a little smaller back then. I think the beds on the Titanic were small. Like 5'4" was the average height, or something like that. So it's just we're talking about a different era here. So it would be good to touch base with that. Now, they did do interviews with these folks like in 1957, I think, or something like that, and then there was another one done a little bit later, I think in the 80s, something like that. So, you want me to go ahead and send that to you? Is that what you're
Yeah.
waiting for?
Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead.
I'm just wondering, Hey,
Might help. Might help.
I don't know. I
I
just love.
like them. They're just little black and white videos. They're so neat. It's like, wow. And they were different there. The women didn't wear pants. They all wore dresses, and most of them kept their hair short and all that different stuff. So yeah, it was a completely different era, I'll tell you that.
And this Edith Russell is just, I don't know. She's the star of, I don't want to say star if they really are, like survivors, but she's the star survivor,
Are they
I would say.
survivors or are they crisis actors?
Yes, we got into that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because they could have had those back then. I mean,
Yeah.
practice makes perfect to perfect it for
Yeah.
our time.
Yeah.
Oh,
Crisis
and-
actors is a good question, and that would go with my other narrative.
Okay, let me pause that. It started playing right away when I went to pull it up. I'm like, what are you doing? All right, so the first thing that we have is their little briefing from. Oh, I can't make that bigger on here. Their little briefing from. Yes, I can. Nope. From when they were interviewing the survivors.
Back in 1957.
Yeah.
So this is now. So this is now. I got to do math fast. 40 years, I believe, after the situation.
On this one is?
1957. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, I guess it would help if I
An American passenger, Miss Edith Russell, traveling first class. Where were you just before it happened, Miss Russell?
In the library.
They just
The
shut
steward
the.
had just called out, 11:30, lights out. So I gave him a few letters to post in the morning, told him I'd pay for the stamps, picked up a book and walked forward to my stateroom, which was on the same deck, A11. And as I got in my stateroom, I switched on the electric light, and I noticed a slight jar, followed immediately by a second one, and a third one, which was quite strong enough to make me hold on to the bedpost. The boat came to a full stop. I walked forward to my window and saw a grayish-white mass drifting by, very much surprised, and decided to take my fur coat and go out on deck and see what it was all about. Well, when I got out on deck, I noticed the general.
Now, the one thing we want everybody to remember is Edith's first story. This woman's story. Just remember it.
I like
And
how
she-
she says she grabbed her fur coat.
Yeah, she is.
emphasized
She is a first class passenger in the estate room, which is right there by the something deck. I'm sorry, one of the nice decks, and so she's able to just walk right out of her room onto the deck and see the situation almost immediately. But I think what she's describing, because I've heard her say she's seen it through the window, and I've heard her say she walked out and saw an iceberg go by. So she fluctuates a lot.
Yes.
My big question to AI is Edith wearing underwear? Because because her story changes with that. So just a
Right?
little bit. But
My
yes.
question
All right.
is Edith a female?
Back then, you can hardly tell.
Yeah, she's pretty masculine to me. That's just my opinion.
Well, this one, it's hard to see her. I think the other video, you can actually see her. So,
Yeah.
But all right, let's go.
And several people in a large, again, this grayish mass. I said, what on earth is that? That? Oh, madam, that's a lifeboat. That's an iceberg. Iceberg? Gracious, I've always wanted to see one of those things since I was a child. Well, you're seeing it clear now. There's 1/8 above the water and 7/8 below. And believe me, that's some iceberg. So, after that, we picked up bits of ice, played snowballs for a little while, and it was very, very cold. I asked one of the officers if there was any danger. He said no, and I went back to bed.
As simple as that. No danger as far as you were concerned.
No danger.
Now, what about Mr. Witter, second class smoking room steward? What did you think the Titanic had hit, Mr. Witter?
Well, I didn't think she'd hit anything. I thought she dropped a blade from the propeller, you know.
How did you find out what in fact had happened?
Well, I went down to the working alleyway where my cabin is, number 7 Glory Hole. I was standing there talking to 2 or 3 fellas, and the carpenter came along, and I heard him say, the bloody mailroom's full of water. I said, what's that ship, mailroom full of water? He said, yes. I said, well, what about those bulkhead doors forward? He said, they're not holding, Jim. Of course, then I walked into my cabin, number 7 Glory Hole, and I opened my box. I called everybody. I said, come along, fellas, get up, she's going down. So I opened my box, took out some matches, some cigarettes, and I said, come on, fella, get out. What the hell are you talking about? They said, get out of here. And someone threw a boot at me. I said, good night, gentlemen. Just as easy as that.
As far as they're concerned, no danger either, not at that time. Well, now, Commander Lightoller, the second officer of the Titanic, died recently, but in 1936 he broadcast his story of that night. And it left 6 compartments open to the sea. The water flowed into the first 6 compartments forward of number 4 boiler room and caused her bows to sink so much that the water flowed over the top of the aftermost watertight bulkhead, filled the next compartment, then overflowed again into the next one, and so on. Well, from that moment, as the captain very well realized, nothing could save the Titanic, and the order was given, lower the boats. Quartermaster Rowe, who's here tonight, was a very surprised man. Where were you, Quartermaster?
I went on watch on the poop at 8 o'clock. At 10 o'clock I read the log and passed it onto the fore bridge. At 20 minutes to 12, I was pacing up and down the deck, and I felt a good jar. I thought that was peculiar. I looked along the side, and I saw what I thought was a windjammer. But as it came astern, I saw it was an iceberg. The engine was going full speed astern then, so I pulled the lug in. After that, it got a bit quiet, except for the blowing off of steam, and heard nothing or see nothing till I saw a lifeboat being lowered on the starboard side. I reported it to the bridge. I asked them if they knew there was a boat being lowered. They said they did, and wanted to know who I was. I said I was the after quartermaster. They asked me if I knew where the distress rockets were. I said yes. They said bring them on the bridge. When Captain Smith saw me bring them up, he told me to fire one and fire one every 5 or 6 minutes. After about 2 or 3 minutes, he said to me, "Can you Morse?" I said yes, a bit. He said, "Call that light up, tell her where the Titanic's sinking, please get all your boats ready." She never answered.
Third-class passenger, Mr. Cohen. I think, Mr. Cohen, you'd had a bit of a celebration with the boys that night.
Yes, I did. We had a celebration with a glass of lemonade.
Am I supposed to believe that?
Yes, you was. So my pals do.
Did you get yourself a life belt early on in the
No,
proceedings?
not at the time. The reason was because we thought the Titanic was unsinkable.
When did you really believe at last that she was going down?
When the boat was listing. And then I decided to find a lifeboat. I found it very quickly, and then I went towards the lifeboats. I never had a chance to get in any one of them because the order was women and children first. So as I was 11, 19, I was out of it. So I decided to find my own salvation. I went across to the Devitt, climbed across the Devitt, which was a dangerous thing at Titanic, and went down the rope about 80 feet long and went into the water, into the sea rather.
It sounds easy now, quick, doesn't it, when you tell it?
Yes, it does. But
I bet you wouldn't like to do it now.
No, well, not with this.
I don't know whether they can see you lower down. I don't think they can, but they can imagine it.
Yes.
It's not as bad as they may think.
Yes.
Now, was that lifeboat that picked you up eventually, was it full?
No, it was about 25 people in it. The reason it was fairly empty as it was, because the people on a boat never realised that the boat would sink, and not many people took the opportunity of going into the lifeboats.
A greater risk leaving the ship than staying
That's
aboard.
right, yes.
Let's ask Miss Russell to take up her story again, and let's jump ahead in time. The last we heard from you, Miss Russell, you were going to bed. You decided to go to bed. Now, let's go forward to the time when you were on deck and you asked Wareham, your steward, to go and find your little pig, your mascot. Would you take up from there?
I was on A deck in the lounge when Wareham came along, and I said to him, "Here, Wareham, are my trunk keys. Would you mind taking care of my trunks if I don't get back in time in the morning?" So he said, "You better go in and kiss those trunks goodbye." I said, "You don't think there's any danger, do you? If there is, why, you better go back and get my mascot." My mascot was a little pig, a music box. It had been given to me by my mother after a motor accident fatal to everybody but me in France. So he brought the little pig back. It played the matchich. After that, I was in the direct line of light with Bruce Ismay, who saw me and picked me up like a puppy and threw me down the steps. Well, I was wearing a sheath dress, very narrow skirt, a long fur coat, a woolen cap, some furs, evening slippers, and one thing another, thin stockings. And I went forward to the rail, looked at that very, very high rail with the lifeboat swinging way out on its davits, and I knew I never could make it, not in that skirt. So as I stood there hesitating, a sailor grabbed this little pig from under my arm and said, "Well, if you don't want to be saved, we'll save your child." And he threw the pig into the lifeboat. Well, I stood there hesitating, and as I said to a gentleman alongside, "Should I leave?" He said, "Definitely, madam." Well, I said, "Can't make it." So now, if you will just sit on my hand, this sailor and I will make a little cradle of our hands. You sit down, put your hand around my neck, and we'll toss you right into the lifeboat. And they did. First thing I did then was to hunt for the little pig. I found it, the bottom of the boat with its legs broken, but it still could play the matchich, and I played it all night long to keep the children from crying.
Thank you, Miss Russell. Well, meantime, the entire crew and all the officers of the Titanic were working frantically. And in the wireless room, the chief radio officer, Jack Phillips, was trying to contact nearby ships. The nearest was the Californian, but her solitary operator had gone to bed. The officer of the watch reported the Titanic's rockets and the disappearance of her lights to the captain, but no action was taken. Meantime, Phillips from the Titanic was sending out the old CQD call, the standard distress signal of those times. But then he changed to SOS the first time it had ever been used at sea. And one of the ships to pick that up was the Carpathia, the captain, Captain Rostron. Now, Harold Cottam, there he is, was the operator of the Carpathia, and he received the signal. And here he is, sending his answer now. Now, this equipment you're using now, Mr. Cottam, I understand is the same as in the Titanic, except for the buzzer that Marconi Marine supplied for the Titanic.
Yes,
is that not right?
Yes.
We've got the coil there,
Yes.
the tuning here,
Yes.
and the receiving.
Yes.
And there was the transmission, was it not?
Yes.
With the spark flying from
Yes.
the points when you press the buzzer.
Yes.
And here the charging and distributing apparatus.
Yes.
Now, Mr. Cottam, the Titanic called you in distress. What was your reaction?
Well, she didn't call me. I called her.
Uh-huh.
About 1 o'clock in the morning, after I'd taken the press, or listened to the press, I took a batch of message for her, and with the intention of redirecting them on to her, I called her up. And the only reply I got that she'd struck ice. And I said, was it serious? And she said, yes, this is a CQD, old man. Here's the position, report it, and get here as soon as you can. So I took the position and on a scrap of paper and rushed up to the bridge with it. When I got on the bridge, I contacted the officer of the watch, and the information didn't seem as though it had sunk as fast as I thought it ought to, so I rushed down the ladder and knocked on the captain's cabin, and as I saw a light, I rushed in. And he said, who the hell, or words to that effect. And so I said, well, the Titanic struck ice, sir, and she's in distress. I've got the position here. So he said, well, give it me, and he put a dressing gown on and went. So he said, will you confirm this? Go aft and confirm it if you can.
Which you did?
Yes, which I did.
And when you came back, what did he do?
When I came back, he said, well, you'd better go back and tell her that we're going to double bank all the watches on deck and below, and tell him we are
on our way?
On our way.
As fast as you could go?
Yes, as fast as you could go.
Fine.
You know, I do have to say something. The guy who is doing this whole thing with him, Chad, I think we noticed last time that he knows an awful lot of this, and he does a lot of directing in his conversations.
Yeah. And now I see it, and I'm like, okay, this is 40 years later. This guy looks like he's about 90 years old with maybe a little bit of dementia, or something. And this reporter's just trying to keep him on time. So it's, you know what I'm saying? Because he's already heard the story, I'm sure.
Possibly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing how it's amazing how he knew what all the devices were called. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
And all the other guy could say was yes, yes,
yes,
yes,
yes.
yes.
And the spark, and it sparked here, and it did this.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. We'll finish this up. This one's almost done.
And thank you, Mr. Cottam.
Yes.
Well, the Carpathia was on its way, and back on the Titanic, the last lifeboat got away round about 1:20 in the morning, and it had over 60 people on board. On the boat, they watched the ship with husbands, relations, and friends still aboard, still unable to believe that she was doomed. Commander Lightoller was less than 100 yards away on the top of an upturned boat.
As I watched, I could see her bow getting deeper and deeper in the water, with the foam sticking up above the surface, whilst her
Yeah, this is important. Pay
Yeah.
attention to this.
And he was on the boat that was flipped over. There's one lifeboat that everybody had to cling to and pull themselves up to that were men,
Yeah.
that were last off the ship, and fell off and climbed off the rope and did all that kind of stuff. That's the boat they were on, and a lot of their stories um really, don't
They
or
don't
they
mesh.
yeah, yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Discrepancy is the word I'm trying to think of, but the other word, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, they don't match. They
Now
don't.
this is showing the bow of the boat is up. Is that what they call the front, the bow? I think so.
Yeah.
So the front of the boat is
The
up
stern.
on this is what they're showing. Yeah.
Stern lifted higher and higher till it was right out of the water. When she got to an angle of about 60 degrees, there was a sullen sort of rumbling roar as her massive boilers all left their beds and went crashing down through the bulk's heads and everything that stood in their way. Up to that moment, she had stood out as clear with her rows of electric lights all burning. When the boilers broke away, she was, of course, plunged into absolute darkness, though her huge black outline was still perfectly distinct up against the stars and sky. Slowly, she reared up on end, till at last she was absolutely perpendicular. Then, quite quietly, but quicker and quicker, she seemed just to slide away under the surface and disappear.
In the lifeboats, the survivors braced themselves for the rigors of a long night. And one of those survivors, a greaser, Mr. Walter Hurst, got there in a very strange way. What's your story, Mr. Hurst?
Well, I saw the forward part of the boat deck dip underwater, so I jumped overboard. Swimming away from the ship, and turned around to look at her, but down came the funnel and smashed into the water right in front of my face. I got a gush of wind and dirt through that nearly blinded me, and I felt the cap go off my head and one slipper off my foot. But it didn't take my attention off of this boat, and I see the collapsible boat washed straight over off the deck, within a few yards of me. But I managed to get onto it, and I was followed quickly by the second officer and a few others. But anyhow, she soon got filled up. There was an old man stood next to me. He was complaining all the night long about his head was so cold. Well, I took particular note of that because mine was pretty cold too. But a friend of mine, a shipmate named Lindsay, gave me a drink from a bottle. I thought I was on a good thing. I think it was whiskey or brandy. Instead of that, it was essence of peppermint. Nearly choked me.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hurst. Well, meantime, the Carpathia was speeding to the Titanic's rescue, herself dodging patches of ice and huge icebergs.
So
Okay, that last part that he just said, though, what was that? The Carpathia charged forward, dodging icebergs and ice fields and stuff to get to there. So
yeah. And didn't they also said on that one that they were cold,
yeah.
right? Hi, Ivy. So the other one just got ready to start right up. I don't know how
You
that
can
happened.
pull up if you want the Titanic route and the or we can wait to do that, and the currents, just to get a look at those, just so we know what we're talking about here with cold
Yeah.
temperatures.
Do we have it?
I sent it to you in Messenger, I think. And then also you were asking about the wealthy. And I did have that information. I just had to get to it. It was John Jacob Astor 5. He died. He was number 333 to be pulled out of the water. They rescued 333 bodies.
Wow.
Isidore Strauss, Benjamin Guggenheim, Charles Melville Hayes, and then J.P. Morgan, Angle. Oh, yeah, Angle. JP Morgan.
So this first one here, it
It's
shows.
the route.
Yeah, this
That's
is the route it was supposed to take, right?
and that's the where it got where it somehow hit the iceberg.
So it wasn't that far out from after it left where it hit the. Oh no, wait.
See how far out it is, though. I mean, it's kind of far out there,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Oh wait, wrong one.
I remember that.
There we go.
This one.
This one.
So that's the warm waters or the Gulf Stream, and then the cold waters
Yeah.
is what brings down the icebergs there from the Labrador current, and it comes down in between Greenland and stuff. So, and then it kind of goes past, but you see how it kind of gets shoved off to the side, it looks like, and it kind of flows past, like where New York, you would think New York, a little above New York, actually.
Yeah.
And there's never been an iceberg sighted off of the coast of New York, to my knowledge. But out in the middle of the sea, where the warmer waters are, there is where the Titanic sank, and I think that's because the currents, where there was a large, they said, a large amount of icebergs or something that just floated out there. So okay, the icebergs can float out there, but the water's not going to be freezing cold, the way it was described, unless that Labrador current there pushes over the top of it. Yeah. And carries all those icebergs down. So it's, but there are icebergs that get spotted down that far, but that's what we're talking about as far as currents and that.
Now, here's
where,
another thing I don't understand.
Mhm.
Okay, so supposedly that other ship is going through a bunch of patches of ice and icebergs, but yet
Mhm.
the boats, the rescue boat, or the what do we call it? The ones that they loaded all the people in. Well, they just went through nothing but just water.
Well, that's what the video just ended saying. That was the Carpathia, and it said that it raced forward, dodging icebergs and ice patches to get to the Titanic.
Right.
So they're
the
claiming, and I think in like the movies and stuff, you'll see like icicles hanging from all their ropes, and it's just really windy, and it's super cold. It wasn't
course,
like it. I mean, this is April. We're talking April, and it
Yeah.
wasn't the North Pole.
Right.
There were no polar bears swimming around.
But their little their little rowboats that they all went in
Mhm.
to get off of the ship, they just rode right through it. The water might have been cold, but I don't think there was any ice around them, because those rowboats wouldn't have been able to get through patches of ice.
Yeah.
Do you want to play another one of the videos with the interviews, or do you want to play the short video that has all the footage of the Titanic and stuff? Because you'll see where they show the iceberg, then they zoom in on it, and you'll see like there's an ice field around it. But then also, like you're saying with the Carpathia picking up the lifeboats, you're not seeing any ice in the water.
Right.
And is it because of the motion of the ocean? And the aperture of the, or the, the way the cameras took pictures back then, I don't know. Is there ice all around them and we just can't see it because it's hard to see because it's in the water and it's wet? I don't know. But
you should
there's
be able to see them.
But you're not really seeing any ice there. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can see it around the iceberg when they took the picture.
Are you talking about the one that starts with the rowboat? The picture of the rowboat?
Yeah.
Okay. I think I've got that one up right now.
Yeah.
I had a couple of them up.
Discrepancy of some people freezing, complaining they're freezing. Other ones saying that they were okay. They're just wet.
Mm-hmm. And they said that was due to hypothermia.
Yeah.
It affected everyone's memory different. So.
Oh, okay.
Is what they're saying. That's why the story is there's a lot of contrasting.
Is that what they're saying?
Yeah, that's why Edith was
Oh.
wearing underwear in one interview and not in another.
And not the other one.
Oh, okay. That's a good one.
I can't believe that was such a factor too, though, that she was wearing underwear. Okay, so we've got this one here, the rare footage of the real Titanic. Okay, is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay.
The
Why are
the
we not
Royal
hearing
Mail
it?
Ship.
Now, every one of these people here in this picture, in this photograph, for the Titanic, every one of them also were crewmen and captain of the Titanic. They all moved from one ship to another, right? Is that correct?
The Olympian.
Yeah, they all
Yeah.
moved
Yeah.
from the Olympic to the Titanic. Okay.
Yeah, the captain definitely did.
Yeah. That's him.
Captain Johnston.
No ice.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was just gonna stop there and say, do you see any ice?
they had the iceberg in the background earlier.
This is, they picked up the people out of the boat. Now they're picking up the boat. So I just don't see any ice in that water.
Nope.
No.
AI says it could be hidden, but
What is it?
that's Edith there. There's Edith right there. That's a picture
Is
of
that
her.
her?
Yeah.
Yes,
Well,
and
she's up front, ain't she?
because she complains later that she grabbed one of her thin fur coats.
Oh,
Oh
got a
boy.
thick one and a thin one. Jeez.
Oh boy.
And then there's all those women. Yeah, I mean, it's.
I mean,
Yeah.
that lady they got their hats and stuff. How did they save their hats?
It took 2 hours for the ship to sink, and the ladies went first, so they would go back and get dressed. I think somewhat, but not fully out, because they thought they would be coming right back. But yeah,
There's another one. No ice. No ice. Where's the ice?
So they had people there taking pictures, rescuing.
Yeah,
all these
that's
people.
another thing.
I mean, filming it and taking pictures, like, all right, we got to get our equipment out here first before we rescue you guys.
No ice.
it was one
not
guy in
60
particular.
people.
They brought one particular person to take the pictures, I think.
Now look.
No. And you'll hear different stories. All the boats were filled up, except for the first two. We couldn't go back, even though we heard everybody crying and calling and freezing to death in the waters, because we didn't want to get our boats overwhelmed.
Well, there was some guys that they said
You got
they were
room.
in the water and they
You
found
know?
a boat that they got to get into.
Shoot.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Nope.
I think
Nice.
some of those fur coats even counted as a passenger.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably.
Oh my gosh.
I wouldn't doubt that.
No ice. Sorry.
Yeah. And look at this one. Look at this. Look at this. No
Now they said the
ice
ice
in sight.
fields could have drifted away at this point.
Oh, jeez.
They
It
could,
could have.
in a matter of hours, in a current, even if it's a small current, they can drift up to 2 miles away. So, and the boats all, rode away from the Titanic. But this isn't what they're portraying in
And
Titanic.
look at all this room in this boat.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah. We could get more people in there
Yeah.
instead of rowing away from them.
yeah. But
I
there's
know.
no icebergs anywhere dodging. And of course AI says, well, when it says dodging it's for a ship, that means they have to spot it way ahead, and then they have to go off course, and then they have to go back. So it's not like, they're just, like in a car driving around icebergs like this.
Uh,
That's what they said when the Carpathia said they were dodging icebergs and ice field. It's like,
uh,
it's
interesting.
possible. It is possible. It is possible. I'm just not seeing it in these pictures, and that's what's really throwing me off.
Right?
Because the ship is on the bottom of the ocean. I mean, we've researched that.
Now the pictures are more proof.
Yeah.
Here's the iceberg.
Now, I've watched a lot of things like when they're out fishing or they're out rescuing
That's the
animals that are
iceberg, though.
stuck on. Now, there's this iceberg, but in
Yeah.
most of the things that I have watched, they may have an iceberg, but there's usually big ice blocks around it. It's amazing how that is the only ice right there in one spot and not anywhere else.
Yeah.
It
And then the
just,
It's AI
sky is fogged
generated.
out.
yeah, and the sky is all fogged out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, the picture quality back then wasn't all that great. So,
And this is zoomed in. This is zoomed in.
yeah,
Um,
incredible. Let's watch a little more.
yeah.
And this one's almost
No
over
paint
too.
marks. No.
Yeah.
No wood chips. No nothing.
Yeah.
Right? Nobody on it waving.
I mean, it's pretty big, and they couldn't see that.
I know, right?
Well, as Edith says, 1/8 is above and
I mean, if it was
7/8
next to the
below.
yeah, it was next to, and they were throwing
Yeah.
snowballs at each other. Where did you get snowballs off the iceberg?
I know, right? That nobody said anything about snowing on the deck.
No.
I mean,
Oh, they said she talks about when it brushed by. That's how tall the iceberg allegedly was. So it had to be over 60 feet tall because that's where the deck height was for her above the waterline. And she says that it was towering above the ship and it looked like a gray building, and that as it would bump into the ship, it would bump into the railings and little bits of ice would be shaved off of it.
ice. But she said they was out
okay.
there making little snowballs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And throwing them. They were throwing them back and forth to each
Boy,
other.
I'll tell you what, Edith
Yeah,
must have paid well.
Throwing
She had
throw
to
an
pay
ice
him.
ball at someone's face. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
right? Here, take that.
That would hurt. I know that.
whatever.
Now, this the guy that they sent, who was the owner of the Titanic, sent on board? Is this him? Jack Dawson.
I'm not an expert on the movie.
Oh,
I
Sorry.
don't. I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, I don't know who the Jack Dawson was.
If you forced me, I might watch it.
Oh no, that's okay. I sat through it and I just slept.
Oh,
Yeah.
That was
All
a
right.
snore fest.
What?
It was a snore fest.
Yeah, pretty much.
not doing it.
Okay. So that one. Oh, stop playing. Okay. Stop playing. But so we have, so let's talk a little bit about Edith, because I don't, when they did the story, when they made the movie, I'm not so sure that they portrayed her in much of it. But
Right.
yet, when they do the interviewing, she's in what, 2 or 3 interviews we have on her. And she's the first person that sticks out on the pictures they took. Why this woman? So many other people survived. Why this woman? They only picked a handful of people.
Well, she's rich. She had a lot of mink coats, so maybe somebody knew her, and so they wanted to make sure that she was upfront and personal.
True, that could be
They
it.
did. They were criticized for giving a voice to the elite, but then again, I don't know how many of the third class made it off, and maybe they didn't want their story told. The doors were locked. They kept us down there. I don't know.
Right?
It wasn't a good look.
Let's take a look.
But for Edith, man, they made a little carriage for her in their hands, and just tossed her into the boat.
Yeah,
very special, especially with their little piggy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Found it with
Yeah.
its broken little legs, but it still
Right.
played the music.
So,
Of course, she was on the last boat. They all were. All those rich people went with the last boat, but that's not what it adds up to when you check their seating
Right.
arrangements in the lifeboats. Yeah.
It's kind of weird that they were on the last.
Right.
So we're going to listen to Edith again. But this is a different one. Apparently they found her again. Aliens took me once and then I woke up. Dead score, you're a goof. Hi, Chris. All right, so we're going to listen to Edith tell a different story from the first one she told. So, and we will mark out her differences between whether or not she even wore underwear. So, hey.
That's very important.
That's kind of important, apparently, especially when you were wearing the skirt she was wearing and she couldn't climb over the rail because it was just too close to her legs. And they had to pick her up like a baby and toss her off the boat.
Yep,
I'd
they
like
made
to
her
know
a
how
little
they made
cushion
it.
seat. Cushion for the tushy. Maybe they could ask the guys, did you feel any underwear?
I know, right? Because that's what she said. The first one, saw she was wearing, and she wasn't wearing underwear. But this one, she might. All right, let's listen to Edith tell her little story again, and the discrepancies are there. No underwear. I got here just in time. You did, Chris. You did.
Yes, Chris did.
All right, let's go through Edith's story again.
Annie, where were you when the ship struck the iceberg?
In the steerage.
the steerage class.
You were emigrating to America?
Yes, I was coming over here to my sister.
If I may ask, how old were you then?
I was 16, going on 17. Be 17 in October.
So she was 16, 17 years old, and she wore a grown woman's skirt.
No, that's not her.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
okay.
not her. That's a different. That's
Oh, I was
This
gonna
is
say.
a third class. I think this is second class. actually.
Oh,
This is
second class passenger.
maybe.
You're
Yeah.
second class, girl. You don't get
Yeah.
the what were they? The mink coats. Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Sorry.
When did you first realize how serious the trouble was?
Oh, I didn't until I got to this country. I thought it was part of the trip, to tell you the truth. I didn't realize that there was any danger.
You didn't realize there was any danger?
No, I thought that was pretty hard way to get here, but I didn't really think it was as bad as it was until after.
When the alarm was sounded, what happened?
Well, I was asleep at the time, and I thought then the ship had landed. So I thought we were here in this country.
Then you went up on deck.
And then I went up on deck, and then we were told to go down, that there was a piece of ice on deck, and that when they get it off of it, everything would be all right, to go down and go to bed.
How did you escape?
Well, we were standing on the steerage, third class they call it, and then we couldn't get up second. And of course then there was one man with us, and he was our guardian angel, and he said, for God's sake, let the women up. So at that I got up.
And then you
second.
And then you got into a lifeboat?
And no, then I had to go to first cabin. The lifeboats were only going from first cabin. So there was a man on the second deck, and he asked me to go on his shoulder, and I climbed over, and then I think it was the last boat that was going out.
Did you
They
take
didn't want to
it?
let me on because there was too many on the boat already.
But you got into the boat?
But I said to the man I'd like to go with my sister because there was a neighbor with me, and I thought he'd feel it. Because I didn't want to lose the crowd. I didn't really think it was any danger, but I thought I'd miss them in the dark. You know, it was very dark.
Did you see the ship sink?
Oh, yes. I was looking at it sinking when we...
So what she is saying is she didn't know the ship was going to sink. She thought that was just how you come over here. The ship stops in the middle of the ocean, and everybody all jumps on little boats and row their way to the land. Is that what she's saying?
Well, I'm not sure. I think she was saying like she didn't know anything was off because she was sleeping at 16. And then so she thought, oh, we must be there. So then she's walking through the hallways and she still doesn't know anything is wrong. And then yeah, you're right, because eventually this chick has got to figure it out, you know. She's getting in a lifeboat for some reason. But maybe she thought that was how they go to shore? No way.
Hi, Zachary. If
Yeah.
if I wake up even at 16 or 17 years old and I hear a bunch of ruckus and they're charging us to get on some little boat, and there's like 1,000 people out there on little boats rowing away, I'm not going to think, gee, this was just a hard way to get to this country, but here I am.
Yeah.
Just
stranger things have happened.
Yeah.
Didn't say anything about this in the brochure.
Well, maybe the second class got a different brochure than the...
Yeah, Chris says that the alarms didn't stop her from sleeping.
Yeah.
I really think that maybe they just had to find a bunch of people to tell this story, because
I'm wondering.
some of them act like they weren't even there. Like maybe the people who were there didn't want to tell their story, so they were like, hey, come here. This, and this happened, and we want you to tell this story.
Yeah, and there's discrepancies, and listen for them. Some of the discrepancies to listen for is like, did the ship go down whole or did it break in two? You know, well, now there's clear evidence it broke in two or three, something like that. And
that could have happened.
But a lot of people are saying it stayed straight up, you know, and then with
the other one
this
says
light,
the back is up and it goes down. Yeah.
and then and then it says when the boilers break and they fall through, in the bottom because they weigh a lot, 50 tons each, and they're screwed to the floor. So once they start busting loose and taking things out, that's when they lost their lights. However, there's some people that said, the ship went down with its lights, and you could see them fading into the abyss below. You
Right.
know, so some people, there's just different claims
Hi,
to
Jason.
listen for that way. Yeah.
Yeah, it is strange. I will tell you that. All right, let's finish listening to
And
this lady
Edith's
here.
underwear. No.
Yeah, and
Oh,
Edith.
yeah.
Yeah, we got to
Underwear.
get to Edith and her discrepancy on whether or not she was wearing underwear because she really didn't know.
I'll sleep better
Apparently.
tonight figuring that out.
Yeah. Way to go, Sherry. Way to go.
We're in the lifeboat because we're in the lifeboats for 9 hours.
And then which ship rescued you?
Carpathia. Carpathia picked us up then early in the morning, about 9 o'clock or something. I think it was about 9 o'clock in the morning.
Slocum, I believe you were in charge of the Turkish bath on the Titanic.
I was.
And where were you when the iceberg hit the ship?
I was in bed.
And when did you first realize things were wrong?
Well, naturally the fog woke us up, and everybody got to their feet. And I went into a little passage, and I met the second steward, which was Mr. Dodd, and he said, "For God's sake, get some clothes on, get up on deck." I said, "What's wrong?" He said, "I don't know." So, of course, I had a coat on, a nightdress, and we got up on deck, and everybody was most cheerful.
When did you first realize how serious things were?
I didn't think it was serious because I didn't think it was possible.
Okay, everybody was quite fearful, but I didn't think, or fearful, but I didn't think it was serious.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's
Oh.
Well, okay.
If people are panicking, you
and
usually
people
end
are
up
panicking, but it's not serious.
Yeah, you kind of start to panic or ask questions, what's going on or something.
Well, she said she asked, but they didn't know. They said, "I don't know," but apparently we're supposed to be getting off the ship up, I guess. I'd be wanting to know why. What's going on? Tell me. Do I need to bungee jump? What's going on?
Yeah, really.
A big ship like that could sink. And everybody was busy, and they was lowering the lifeboats, and the crew were marvellous. Everybody was cheerful.
How did you escape?
In the last lifeboat, and I didn't want to go.
And then, of course, you realized that things were very serious.
Yes, I did.
And did you see the ship sink?
I did. It sank very quickly.
That must have been a most dramatic sight.
It was, because you could just see the lights going down and down.
There it is. She said it. You can see the lights going down and down. The other guy, however, said it went completely black and then just disappeared into the water. So there's two different stories right there.
Did you hear the music playing?
I did.
Almost till the end?
Till the end, I heard them play, you know, Nearer My God to Thee.
Nearer My God to Thee.
And I met a steward, and he said, "Here you are, grab hold of this." And it was a baby. So I took the baby. And then when they lowered the last lifeboat, I didn't want to go. And they said that one of the other stewards, and Mr. Wheat, he was helping.
And that irritates me right there. So a man handed her somebody else's baby. Where was the mother of that baby?
Yeah, really. And she didn't want to go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did they take the baby away from the mother? Did the mother leave the baby and jump on a different boat? What's going on?
Because there is another story of a baby that the mother put the baby in a laundry basket, and Edith tells it, and the mother walked off the ship onto a boat and forgot she had a baby until she got on the Carpathia. But a nurse had heard the baby crying and had tossed the baby to one of these ladies or something. I think that was in Edith's boat, or I don't think it was this baby, but she talks about it, seeing that child, as a grown man later. But I was like, what kind of mother
Yeah, really.
Forgets that she took
she
her
has a
baby on a boat.
kid
Usually a mom's
and just
instinct
sets
is
them in a laundry basket, and then
Oh my
it
God.
goes down to a
she's
she
not
didn't
doing
forget.
Moses.
Jeez, I know, right?
No,
Oh my gosh.
no.
No,
Just
we
walk
might
out
hear it in
believing
here.
it.
Yeah, it's one of them.
over him. And Mr. Murdoch, he was the chief steward, and he was shouting out, ladies, children and women first. They was marvellous.
And you took the baby?
I took the baby, and I didn't want to go, so they said, come on. And I went down in the last lifeboat, and there was, I think there was 72 in it. And you could hear the ice crashing the sides of the boats.
You saw ice all round you?
Oh yes, crashing and the water, the ocean was as smooth as a pond.
And you were in the water until, you were in the boat until
the
daylight?
next, yes, bright daylight. And then we was brought on to New York, and the Lapland brought us back to Plymouth, the survivors, which had to come back. So then, of course, we was kept there a little while and then brought on to Southampton. Of course, that was very sad because everybody thought she knew somebody who was lost, and I had so many friends on there, and you couldn't tell them anything.
There was no
So I'm going to pause it right here before he tells his story. So on this one, hi Juan, on that one, when she said there was ice all around them, but other people said it was just cold in the water. There was no ice.
Those might have been the people on the other side of the ship, because it depends on which side of the ship that you hear the story come from. I am telling you that AI is good, man. It'll pick up little tiny things like this, but depends on what side of the ship you were on, whether you saw ice or not, or how far.
Really?
I guess. I don't know. Yeah. So
I mean, I still don't understand.
okay, I showed it a picture of a cryptid the other
I
day, and I'll
will.
show you this picture, okay? And it's clearly a cryptid, and it
such
tried to
is
tell me
Dang it.
it was a hairless raccoon.
It was a hairless raccoon.
Yeah, it's no damn
Honestly.
hairless.
Hang
So
on
it
a
makes
second.
mistakes. It makes mistakes, and it's not built to conspire. So this guy rescues somebody, and then they end up rescuing him with their blanket at the end.
Yeah.
It's
So
an
we're gonna
endearing
play this
story.
guy here. We'll listen to his little part of his story.
He does seem inflicted by it sometimes emotionally, but is that just the acting?
I don't know. It could. I mean, it could be they pay these people good for crisis actors get paid good, and they've been using them since turn of a century. All the time. I've seen them in different places. Right now, I'm trying to break down that one guy that kicked the ice vehicle and his taillight came out, because I've seen him somewhere before. So I'm looking back in old stuff to see if he was in there. So yeah, I won. So we'll see, because I don't know. I mean, something happened, and there was loss of life, because of course we know when our government's involved in anything, they don't care who they take down with them. They really don't. But I don't think that we were told the whole truth, and I do think that it was done deliberately, just because of the way a lot of people describe what they heard, what they felt. and different stuff like that. So
Yeah, I agree.
yeah. All right, let's listen to this guy here.
Like jamming your brakes on a car. And that was that. She stopped. We had a porthole open, and I looked out, and the sky was
Okay,
clear,
can I?
and the stars were shining. There was
Yes.
I just want to say, like, because there is just another discrepancy between the. I mean, they just say like, like it hit the iceberg and stopped, but I clearly know that that must not be. I mean, that's not what he meant by that because the Titanic drifted 2 miles before it came to a stop. At
Yeah.
22 knots and 500 tons or whatever.
Right.
Nothing came to a stop, and that's what they're all kind of saying. But maybe that's what they meant. Like after 2 miles, it came to a abrupt stop. But
I don't know. But
he just said abrupt stop.
Chris said this guy looks like Bob Barker.
I know it's like a Disney character. It's like listening. It's
Maybe
like,
it's
well,
Bob's great grandfather.
Oh my gosh. Chris, you're a hoot. All right, here we go.
sea was dead calm. And I thought, I don't know, I couldn't understand it. So I came out of my cabin and I thought, well, I'd go forward. And I went forward to the well deck on the starboard side, and I could see ice in the well deck. There's no sign of iceberg then, because he'd passed us. And the lights were shining on the water from the portholes, and no sign of damage above waterline. And of course, what had happened, we slipped over the iceberg. And although she was supposed to be unsinkable with a double bottom.
Now, he said they slipped over it. Is that what he said?
because I think part of the ship, yeah, I think the underneath part of the iceberg was the large part, and as it hit it, it kind of, I don't know, but I think it did go over the iceberg a little bit somehow, and that's what caused the damage.
Yeah. I said it was like double thick bottom and should have been protected.
Yeah, and it didn't really, according to the AI, when it analyzes all the wreckage at the bottom of the ocean and stuff like that, it wasn't a missile, it says, because you would have seen scattered debris everywhere all over the ocean floor. It wasn't something from the inside exploding, because the same thing, you would have seen debris, and that when it hit it didn't rip the ship apart. He's saying it went through two holes, and that's where AI is telling me it just broke the rivets of the ship,
Yeah.
and caused buckling and stuff. So I don't know if he's saying it sliced through the plates and it went through two walls, but
And Edna's on a good spot. She says, it seems like with history, the story is told the way they want it told.
Yep.
Okay, and that's why we're going to pay close attention to this, because there was an author in the 1800s before this that wrote a book about I think it was the futility or something, and it hit an iceberg and sunk and didn't have enough lifeboats. And then he had another one with a ship called Titan, which is the submersible that
Another one.
that imploded and stuff. But this is all back then, and AI is saying like, okay, well, he was just writing about the times. Ships didn't have enough. It's just a coincidence because he was writing about the times. It was a concern about the ships hitting icebergs and having the lifeboats not be enough. So,
right.
Was it seeding and foretelling, or was it, yeah?
I know that they had said one of the problems with the Olympic and why it wasn't seaworthy was because of the fact that its rivets and a lot of the stuff on the inside of it was old, and it would have cost them a lot more money to put into it. And I don't think they wanted to put into that. Mm-hmm. So And it would be amazing because for something that wasn't seaworthy, after the Titanic sinks, the Olympics still sails for 20 some odd years when it's not seaworthy. So there's a discrepancy that I don't understand. Make this make sense. Okay, here we go.
Mm-hmm.
The iceberg cut her from forward on the starboard side to the engine room, right through her two bottoms. And we had orders to get the lifeboats out. And of course the same old order, women and children. And we swung the lifeboats out and gradually filled them up.
Now, was he saying that it hit towards the back of the boat?
Oh, I don't know.
That it sliced it.
It kind of shows
He did
the
say it
back
went
of the
through
boat.
2 walls, though, or that's what the diagram showed was 2 walls. When that's not the evidence that they're seeing at the bottom of the ocean.
Right.
I just questioned, did it really hit an iceberg, or how did it really sink?
Yeah.
They say it didn't hit a mine, it didn't hit a, it would have looked different, but somehow
Well,
I just feel like it was sunk on purpose, and I
and
just want to
again,
know, was Captain Smith MKU'd, to
well,
drive
right.
this ship into an iceberg?
Yeah,
Well,
that's a
and
good one.
then again, they didn't go and find the Titanic until years and years later. So the destruction of it, if you look at it now when they take the drone down there and it's looking, you see shit everywhere. So you wouldn't have been able to tell whether or not it was something that wasn't an iceberg. You just couldn't tell it. So I don't know. It's so hard to say. We get lied to so much. God, I can't stand our government. They're all fired. Anyways, here we go.
First boats were away on the port side. The first boats away didn't have many passengers on board. They were afraid to go down. There was a 70-foot drop to the water, and they didn't think she was going to sink. And a few of the first boats on the port side got away with half filled. Don't forget, we had 16 lifeboats, and they each carried 50. And if they'd been filled, we could have saved 800, whereas we only saved 500. So you can imagine they were.
Nope. The last one said they saved 700. So where'd those other 200 people go?
Yeah.
Because that's what the other one said, the one where we showed the pictures of the Titanic and it being built. And it says that they saved 700. There were 700 people that they saved.
Well, you said, Chad, that they were saying there's discrepancies or something because they had hypothermia. Well, how did they have that? Because they weren't in the water. They're interviewing people in the boats.
Yeah. Hypothermia and frostbite and things like that going on.
Yeah.
Many seats in the first lifeboats.
Wait, what?
I was just saying, there was one guy's testimony about having frostbite and going onto the Carpathia and walking up and down the decks because he refused to lose his feet. They said, "You're going to lose your feet," and he says, "Well, I need those feet." So he got up and he started walking up and down the decks with frostbite and ended up making it to the Olympics one day.
Well,
can't make it up. Yeah.
Then I had orders to go down the storeroom with a gang of men and get all the biscuits we could find. Well, when we got back up onto the boat deck, we couldn't get near the lifeboats. Some people were scrambling to get in and being pushed back. By that time, she was listing very badly to port, and we couldn't get the starboard boats down. But before I got my lifebelt on, I met a young couple, and I can tell you her name. It was Mrs. Clark. They'd spent their honeymoon in France, and we'd picked them up at Cherbourg. And she was having trouble with her lifebelt. So I fixed that on to her. And I said, "I think you'd better get into a lifeboat." And there was one in the port, on the port side. So she said, "No, I don't want to go there. I don't want to leave my husband." So I said, well, it's just a precautionary measure. You get in, your husband will follow later on. And I got her away, and that was that. And then I picked up my own lifeboat and put it on. Then the third-class passengers were coming up. There were 700 of them. And they swarmed the decks and filled up the decks. And I thought, well, I'd done all I possibly could. I'd helped them all I could. And I thought, oh, now I'll go up and get out of all this scrumming and go on the poop deck. And she was sinking fast then. And all of a sudden she lifted up quickly and you could hear everything crashing through her. Everything that was movable was going through.
Now that's the back of the boat. That is not the forward. That's the rear.
It should be the rear that goes up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the other one was not.
The other one
right?
was the front. And they said it went straight up and down. This one's the rear. So then again, who knows? Who knows?
Maybe the artist didn't get it right.
Damn artist.
Had a form of something.
Yeah.
And then she went down and seemed to come up again. So I thought, well, now I'm going to leave. And I was hanging on to a board. We had two boards, starboard and port, which said, keep clear of propeller blades. And I was hanging on to one of these, and I was getting higher and higher in the air. And I thought, well, now I'll go. And I dropped in. I had a lifebelt on. And I hit the water with a terrific crack. Luckily, I didn't hit anything when I dropped in. There were bodies all over the place. And then I looked up at the Titanic. There the propellers were right out of water. The rudder was right out, and I could see the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
And then gradually she glided away, and that was that. That was the last of the Titanic. I didn't want to die, I mean, and I didn't see much chance of living, but I was gradually getting frozen up. And by the grace of God, I came across a lifeboat, and they pulled me in. And there was a fireman dead in the bottom. There was about a foot of water in this boat. There was another man who was trying to. He seemed to be trying to get away from it again. I don't know what was the matter with him. They were tying him down, and the rest were women and children. And I sat on a seat, and I sat next to Mrs. Clark.
There's Miss Clark again,
The girl I'd put into a lifeboat. And she said, the first thing she said, have you seen my husband? So I said, no, I haven't, but I expect he'll be all right. Anyway, I was in a pretty bad way then, as you can imagine, frozen solid almost. And she wrapped me round with a cloak. She had some sort of blanket or a coat on. Anyway, I think she probably saved my life, I don't know. But I saved hers. At least I think I might have done. I think I did. And she saved mine. Then, first light, the Carpathia came along. The Carpathia was about 7,000 tons, and they were going to the Mediterranean.
I still really want to know who filmed all this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, because they got the boat coming in, so somebody had to be out there. I mean, I've taken photography and stuff.
Right.
So in order to be there, you got to have somebody out here to take film that boat coming in.
So they probably had. So the way they're making it seem is they had a photographer, a film man on the Titanic, and he was the first one to get off so he could film everybody else. And he's still on his boat as the Carpathia arrives. Well then.
Missing time says James Cameron filmed it.
Yeah. Damn Jason.
And absolutely loaded. And they took us all on board, took us to New York. And that was that.
I believe you've even got a watch that you were wearing at the time when you went into the water.
Yes, yes. But I couldn't afford anything better in those early days. Here it is.
That says 2:20. What time was it when you went into the water, do you think?
I think about 2 o'clock. I think it lasted. It was frozen up like I was. I think it lasted for about 20 minutes in the water.
Does talking about this incident bother you like you have been today?
Talking about it? I should probably dream about it tonight. Have another nightmare. You'd think I'm too old for that, but you'd be amazed. You lie in bed at night and the whole thing comes round again.
So, yeah, a lot of discrepancies. Now, we also have the man that was in the boat that said he was just cold. There was no ice. I think he's in one of these videos here too. So,
Yeah.
Yeah. Edna, it might be a Timex. They don't make them like they used to. They make them so they absolutely break down. People are just, anything for money, I guess.
They also claimed too, like that the keys were missing from the crow's nest or something to the binoculars. So the crew up there had no access to the binoculars that were needed, or maybe could have provided more time of them seeing the iceberg and the ship turning. So they
Really?
Yeah, because there was a guy that when they docked the ship, he got off and he took the keys with him, and then he realized it and felt bad about it because they had no access to binoculars. There were binoculars on the ship, but then there's Edith, and she claims to have this.
I don't have the other Edith video.
Oh, let's see.
Edith is missing.
Okay, here I'll send
Did
it.
you see what Chris had said? That people had to die because a guy needed the space of the lifeboat for his camera equipment.
Yeah,
Nice guy.
right. That's what I'm saying. I'd like to know how they, the drawings, yeah, they can go by, whatever people tell them or describe to them. But, maybe I do have that one. Maybe I was lying, or I was just thinking it was something else. Huh? What? Okay.
I think this is from 1970.
Oh, this one's from 1970. Wow. Okay. We will
So she's had time to,
think about
her story.
Yeah, get her story straight. I think this is the one when she talks about underwear. So here you go, Chris.
That might be an earlier one, but yeah.
I don't know. She's crazy.
On Wednesday, April the 10th, 1912, in brilliant sunshine, although the day was cold, the unsinkable Pride of the White Star Line left Southampton. She was commanded by Captain Smith, Commodore of the White Star Fleet, and this was to be his last appointment before retiring. A crowd had gathered on the pier to watch her leave her moorings. The Titanic was a new breed of luxury liner. The route for this maiden voyage took her to Cherbourg and Queenstown, where she took on emigrants bound for the New World. Among her passengers were many of the wealthy and influential, with, according to...
See, I want to say, this is not a new thing. Bringing people here. It's not a new thing, people. It's been going on forever.
Do they pick up immigrants all the time? I mean, most of them are all immigrants.
I mean, yeah, it's,
but they got the wealthy people, can't forget that.
Of course. Yes, absolutely.
One calculation, combined assets of £120 million.
There was something about the Titanic. It was so very formal. It was so stiff.
Now this is Edith, everybody.
Yeah. What happened
And
to her eye? It looks like
I
she
don't
got
know.
scratched and whatnot.
But this is the second time that she's told her story. If you weren't here at the beginning, she told it. So this one is quite different, the way she says it. There's a few things that she, kind of threw in there that she didn't say before.
She's still got her pig. It looks more broken now.
Oh, yeah. Apparently she's carried that thing around forever.
The atmosphere was stiff. The coziness. Well,
And if you look at the picture behind her, the back
Yep.
Of the ship is in the air. Not the front, like some people claim.
kind of get-together feeling. It didn't exist. Always remember going up on the lift. A little boy said to me, "You know, madam, it's quite an honor. I'm only 14 years old. I'm a lift boy."
But we were sleeping 6 in a bunk. And we were treated like as if we were in a third-class restaurant as regards the food. We were not allowed to go in any part of the ship except the deck that we were allowed to go on.
If you were rich, the decks provided a sumptuous way of life. The band played the gayest tunes and
Want me to
American
send you a
ragtime
different one?
dances, and in the splendor of the Café Parisian...
What?
Do you want me to send you a different one?
Oh, you have a different one?
Well, this one seems to be, I mean, I thought that was just an interview of her, and there is
No,
that.
apparently.
So,
This one is about 9 minutes long. So you have a different one? Well, this one has a couple of interviews of a couple of people. But yeah, you can send over the other one if you want.
well, I don't know. That one does. Okay, that one does. This one's okay. Here, we'll send over this one.
Okay. Send over that one. Yeah, because this one has got everybody on it, and it talks about the ship. But we need Miss Edith up here to tell us her story. Okay, here we go. I think we got it. Da, 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 Okay, here she goes. Maybe. Come on, Edith.
About the Titanic, it was so very formal. It was so stiff. The atmosphere was stiff. The coziness. The kind of get-together feeling. It didn't exist. Always remember going up on the lift. A little boy said to me, "You know, madam, it's quite an honor. I'm only 14 years old. I'm a lift boy." There was a very slight bump. Just a little jar, nothing at all. I went in my room. There was a second light jar, nothing of consequence. But you knew something had happened, and one man said, "Look at that. That's an iceberg, and it's a whopper, because there's 1/8 above the water and 7/8 below. And this blooming thing's all the way over the top of the ship." Thought nothing of it. We picked up the bits of ice, and most of it was great snowballs. A little while later, a man came to my door. His teeth were chattering. He said, "Madam, get up, get out. Do you know, they're making the women and children leave in lifeboats. They say you're coming back for breakfast. You know, these crazy English, they do anything. They make you get up, go off in boats, and go off and come back for breakfast. What do you think of that?" But before I went, I locked every window in my 3 staterooms and closed every trunk and locked every trunk and took the keys with me. 19 keys for 19 trunks. I had on my evening slippers, diamond buckles. No, not real diamonds, but diamond. And I had a wool cap and 2 fox furs and a paper-thin broadtail coat and no underwear and no stockings, but a pair of velvet slippers and these buckles. And I lost.
There it is, Chris. She had no underwear.
It's a different outfit than what she said in the earlier.
Yes, it is. She
Totally
said before
different.
she
They
was
even had
wearing
a
this.
drawing of her dress.
Yeah, it's the stockings that's actually the discrepancy there. She's claims
Yeah.
later to have stockings. Yeah.
Yeah.
And a fox coat compared to the fur coat.
Yeah. Wow.
A buckle. And who should I see? Mr. Monk, a miniature painter. And he said, look, there's trouble. I just said, no. Well, he said, you'll have to jump now into the lifeboat. I said, jump? With this thing I've got on? What do you think I am, an acrobat or a monkey or something? I can jump in this thing. What, he said, you'll have to. My sister's in that lifeboat. Well, I looked at that lifeboat, swinging out on the davits. Possibly, I don't know by measurements, but it was an awful long way. And down below was the sea, 14 stories below. What if you jumped and you fell between? No, I never would have left the ship. But a sailor came along, and he said, say you don't want to be saved. Well, I'll save your baby. And he grabbed this pig from under my arm, and he tossed it in the lifeboat. And I turned to this man Monk, and I said, that does it. But when they threw that pig, I knew it was my mother calling me. I don't doubt that they were playing music. Other people heard it. But when people say that music played as the ship went down, that is a ghastly, horrible lie. And then the horrible fear was in my heart.
Okay, wait. Did she say that people could hear the music as it went down, and she said that was a lie?
Yes, she did, because
that it played till the end.
Well, she played her pig in the first interview. And
Yeah.
played music, and she played it for the women and
Well,
children.
but she was talking about the music, the band that was playing on the ship.
Okay.
But everybody else had said that music played all the way as the ship disappeared, all the way until it disappeared. They could hear the music.
Yeah. And there
But
are
she's-
discrepancies.
Yeah,
and
and so
testimonies.
she said that was a lie.
Huh.
So, I mean, the people that were on this ship, or on a ship when it sank, yes, that was horrifying. But like I said, when things are set and they do things on purpose, it's like they don't care who the casualties really are. No, in any situation, it was the same way in 9/11. They don't care who the people are that get hurt in the process.
Yep.
You're expendable to them, and that's sad. That's really sad. But they're like I said, there's some, because didn't the last guy just said you could hear the music all the way to the end? And Edith over here, she says that was a lie.
Now the boats that rode furthest away from the ship, maybe they didn't hear the music or something, but she was in the last boat, wasn't she? Or second to
Yep.
last boat.
She was in the
I mean,
last boat.
she got on there 10 minutes before it sank, or
Yeah.
10 minutes before 2, I think is what she said. And yeah.
Yeah. It's all right, Edith. Finish your story.
and I think everybody else's, that the dreadful, dreadful suction that had drawn us towards the Titanic would suck us under the Titanic.
So
there's more to that interview. I mean, I can look for it, but
well, there was the last man had said that he had jumped in the water at 2:00, and she was in the water and on the boat 10 minutes till. He never said anything about anything trying to drag him under. He swam, got in the water, and he swam through whatever ice they're saying was there, but he swam through the water to a lifeboat.
Yeah. And his clock stopped at 2:20.
And he said that he watched it go down. He heard the music till it went down. And Edith over here says that's a lie. Edith, who are you working for? And how much did you get paid?
Who cares if you had underwear on or not?
I know.
Yeah.
Who cares if you took your underwear?
You know, and she claimed to being able to have seen the Californian, that ship that didn't respond to the emergency distress call
Oh,
at the
really?
Titanic. Yeah, you know, she claimed to be able to see that ship from where she was. And she swears that she saw a man walking on that deck back and forth. Now, this would have been like 5 miles away to 10 miles away, and there's no way you can see a person walking along a deck or something like that. But she claims to be freakishly farsighted, like she
So
can.
most of these passengers on these little boats, they don't know if anybody was called to come and rescue them. But if Edith could see that boat from where they were, why didn't those boats head to that one? Because they were
Oh,
just
that
out in
one
the middle of
was.
the ocean.
It was sailing away. It disappeared eventually. They watched its lights
Oh,
disappear
okay.
eventually. But at one point, she could see it from where it was, you know, and this would have been 5 miles away. But that's according to her. She claims she could see somebody on that deck walking around or something like that. So
Dang, Edith, you had some good eyes, babe.
yeah, they should have stuck her up in the crow's nest.
I know. She might have spotted that damn thing
She would
coming
have
up.
seen that iceberg. Yeah.
Yeah, before they hit it.
Golly. So
she wouldn't get cold because she had enough fur coats to keep her warm.
yeah. Well, she said in the first one that she had gone out there and played with the snowballs and then went in to go back to bed. And then when she felt the first bump, she kind of rattled a little bit and grabbed her bedpost or whatever post she grabbed.
Her bedpost.
And then it happened again. So in this one, she's saying it happened as she was still in her cabin, and they came down and got her and told her she had to leave. But in the other one, she was already up on the deck playing with the snowballs, and they seen this big iceberg, and she didn't
she
say
said she saw
about
it
going
out
back
her
to bed.
window. Yeah, she saw it out her window, but the other time, then she has to mention 19 locks and keys and all this other stuff. What is that code?
I guess she didn't recover any of her stuff because
No, she was poor afterwards and had to work off
Yeah.
for many years to repay her debts.
Yeah, because back then they
'Cause
would
she
have
said-
put all their money, especially because she was leaving, she'd have put all of her money in a trunk and locked it up. Of course, I would have taken that before I would have taken the piggy, or I would have stuck the piggy under my arm and took the money trunk.
That's
But
what the other people she is saying around her was thinking too, you know.
who did?
Because they were grabbing their money and their jewels, and she thought it would be safer
Yeah.
left in the safe.
I'm just gonna
Safer
grab
in the
my
safe.
piggy. No. So
Wow.
I don't know. That's the whole thing. There's
Mhm.
so much discrepancy, and nobody could get their story straight. Now, I understand trauma can do that. Trauma can make you not remember things completely. And then just one day you'll be thinking about it and it'll come to you. I can understand that.
Yeah.
Definitely. We've all been there. We've all done it. We've all had traumas in our lives and tried to take it step by step. Some people have to have help to be able to get it out. Some people, all you got to do is mention something and it snaps back to you. But there were so many people in these interviews. What, Chad?
Oh no, I was just thinking Edith talked about this.
Mm.
She talked about trauma because she, as a child, she was in a car accident and she got tossed into a wheel. The only reason she survived is that and during the accident, she got thrown into the wheel that was on the back of the car because there was back wheels on the back of the car, and she got thrown
Right.
down in between or something. And she couldn't remember this accident until she was on the Titanic, and then all of a sudden, all the memories came back full to her or something. That's what she was claiming.
Wow.
I just sent you the video if you wanted to listen to it. It's long. It's 20 minutes, but it doesn't have any visuals. It's just her yakking away.
so so she didn't remember the accident until it happened.
So
Until
she
the Titanic happened, yeah. So she was talking
re-traumatized.
about trauma and yeah, how it can affect you already. I
Yeah.
guess. And she was on the yeah.
And for the most part, especially us three here, we know that and we know about what happens with that. You know, my trauma, Chad, Sherry, we've all been involved in it. But it didn't take something really bad to kick it in. It actually took a lot of uh, uh, sitting down, relaxing, thinking, clearing your mind. You know, I've never heard anybody went from one tragedy to another before they remembered what happened in the last tragedy. But a lot of these people that were in these interviews, they all gave different interviews. They all said different things. So it's it's so hard to put things together
Yeah.
when everybody tells the wrong stories. The one guy said that the Titanic went all the way up in the air and it went straight down. And the other ones say the end of it went up in the air and it went straight down. Then people say it only got to a certain degree and it slid down. How can all these people tell the wrong stories so many times? I just don't understand. Especially when they say it one way and then when they come back on and give another interview, they say the totally opposite. So, did it happen?
I don't know.
Did it not happen? Did it
Something
happen?
happened.
Did it happen for a reason to get rid of some
Yeah.
very wealthy people that were on
Yeah.
that ship that didn't want to go into the federal banking system, which is exactly what happened 2 days before that thing sailed. They were in a meeting with JP Morgan, and JP Morgan and the Rothschilds wanted to start a federal banking system, and the rich people said, no, we don't want to do that. And anybody who tried to stop the federal banking system from having gold back, anybody that would have the gold back, they didn't want to have nothing to do with that. They didn't want to do it. Why? Because federal banking systems have control of your money. Gold backed banking systems would not have had it. And they make money off of our money in a federal banking system. Where with the gold backing, they wouldn't have made the money off of it. These people are wealthy not because they were handed down wealth or they went and made it on their own. They were handed down our wealth. They were they all make money off of us. Everybody's taxes funds war, funds this, funds that. But they set that bar so high that they don't get all that money. That the what it goes for doesn't get all that money. you have your big people on top that get a majority of that money. And it's how they do laundering. You know, I mean, look at what they did with Ukraine. They sent over so many millions and billions of dollars to Ukraine. Ukraine turned it back into Bitcoin, sent it back over, and the administration and everybody in the government got their share of that money. So, why did the Titanic happen? Did it have to do with money?
Yes, I think so. I mean, especially if Edith was rich and then all of a sudden
and then all of a sudden poor. Damn Edith. That's what you get for keeping your money in your underwear. Yeah. I mean, I understand heirlooms. It was her mom's. Her mom gave it to her. But it wasn't very big. She could have crammed it under her arm and grabbed her money bag and took it, you know?
Yeah.
Or at least stuffed her pockets with a little bit of cash.
I mean, nowadays we got those safes that are waterproof. So, you know.
True. I mean, I don't think they float, but
no, but
a life preserver would have been nice.
If you have a water damage in your house or something, you know, when the water recedes, you can get your money.
Yeah. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to give everybody that watches the same option I gave people with the Channel 12 TV network. I have a deep dive facts 1967 at gmail.com. Or if you know me and you're on my Facebook, if there's something you want us to look at that's a conspiracy theory and you want us to get into it and put it out there and research it and then turn it into a show, you can email me at that email, or you can contact, if you're on any of our Facebooks, you can contact us on Facebook and let us know. Chad over here, Chad is my golden boy, and so is Kiki. You hear Kiki? She said, "Don't forget me." And we will get into that, and we will dig into that because okay, Jason. But so then that way we can do a show on it for you, or because Chad finds stuff that I don't even know where he finds it. I'm afraid to ask sometimes. He just gets in there and puts it in. And he jumps in that rabbit hole with a shovel and just keeps on digging.
Digger Chad.
Yeah, you're welcome, Edna. I'm glad you guys came over. Please subscribe to the channel. I don't know if Abe is having a show tonight or not. Last night he said he was going to be really busy today, so I'm not sure if he's going to have one. So I thought, well, I will do one tonight. That way you guys have a place to go, something to listen to. But yeah, we like to get into some of this stuff because we know a lot of stuff behind the scenes. So sometimes it's a little bit easier for us to break some of this stuff down. It's incredible. And we're going to do stuff like we are going to get into 9/11 one day. That's going to take some digging because there's a few things out there that I'm going to try to get. I'm not sure if I can get the paperwork on that stuff or not, but so we're going to get into that. And we have a few others that we're going to get into. What else we got that we're going to get into, Chad? Do you know offhand? We're over here, we're all rocking.
You're muted, Chad.
Oh, Chad.
I was just sorry. No, I was just thinking about how triggering 9/11 is going to be, but it'll be a good one.
Yeah.
Triggering for me personally, but
Yeah.
you know, yeah.
Oh, me too. Like I said, my ex-husband and I went out there the day after we were put on this search and rescue.
Mm-hmm.
So I was out there too. So I seen a few things that were not kosher with what they talk about. Yeah. But a lot of these things that we cover, a lot of things that are considered conspiracy theories. First of all, that's an oxymoron. It was made up by the CIA when JFK passed away because they wanted people to look over here, not over there. A lot of things that are involved in conspiracies, they're usually true. Um, or there's major stipulations in everything because it's stuff that they just do because they don't want people to know the truth. And our media, our mainstream media is the biggest terrorist organization that the United States has. I will tell you right now. It really is because, and it's been signed into law that they are allowed to not tell the truth and start propaganda. That was signed in with Obama when he was in office. So that's what they do. They don't go out and do reporting anymore. Uh, they show up for work and they get a fax and then they say, this is what you're going to talk about and this is how you're going to say it. And that's the way they do it now. They don't do shit in reporting. Nothing. Let me tell you.
And they send it all over because during, the whatever time we were all made to sit at home and stuff, people had them like all around the country saying the exact same thing side by side, reading the script. Exactly.
They all get it. It's all a script.
Yeah.
Everything that happens is by design. And what do we always say, Chad? The world is a
Well, there's a
stage.
stage, yeah.
That's right.
And one of the things I look for too is the 3-3 or the 33 thing, just like
the
how it
Masonic.
pops up. Then I know something may be a little bit off. And, and with the Titanic, it shows up with the body count, the Carpathia, they pulled out 333 bodies, and Astor was the last one of those to be pulled out, and everybody else was put back into the sea. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
And there is another thing that I want to do, and we are going to do it. And I want you both to know that the only one that's probably going to get in trouble for doing it is me because it shows in my name. But we are going to dig into
JFK.
Bohemian Grove. Well, JFK too, but Bohemian Grove. We're going to dig into Bohemian Grove, and we're going to also get into MK Ultra and the island out there and all that stuff.
And Bohemian Grove is just a couple hours south of me. So do you want me to drive down there and
go sneak around in the bushes and
go
take
sneak
pictures?
around and see what I can find out?
I've
seen those people with the videos that have gone through there. There's some pretty creepy stuff. But I also heard that Bohemian Grove is now in Florida. So
so they have one there too.
I think they've moved it. I think
what
they've
you're
moved
saying,
locations.
Yeah, probably because too many people
But I
know
don't know.
that one.
I think that was Penny Bradley that said that or something. Yeah.
But Chad over here is going to be boots on the ground.
No, I don't want to be.
He's like,
and
no,
if they
thank
ask
you.
anything, I'm just looking for Bigfoot.
That's right. You're looking for Bigfoot. Take a jar of peanut butter with you. That way you can say, I'm trying to feed him.
Yeah.
I heard he was over here. But yeah, I mean, because I run into quite a bit of stuff on Bohemian Grove. So, so eventually we're going to get to do all of this stuff. And like I said, if you guys have anything else that we might have, because, I mean, I'm old, I might have forgot about that was in the past.
Okay. Yeah. And even if they want it just to be like proven or disproven, like, okay, I need to hop off the fence on this one. Let's crunch it a little bit, whatever it might be. And yeah.
Absolutely. So it'll be, and it's kind of fun for us to do these. Look, I've had military at the door. I've been contacted by the FBI. It doesn't really bother me because, hey, you're gonna lock me up, you better prove it's wrong if I'm
Yeah.
trying to prove it's right. So, and I don't think they want to lock me up because they won't take my wheelchair, and they'll have to come in, and I'll make damn sure they got to come in there every 5 minutes and pick me up and put me on the toilet. So I will become the biggest pain in the ass they have ever known.
Oh,
I
this woke
can do
society
it.
out there, that's a big statement,
Yeah,
Brenda.
that's true. That's
I'm
very
just
true.
gonna say, I think they've seen a lot.
Oh my God. I'd be like, dude, and you gotta wipe my butt too, because I can't reach it. I would do that just on purpose. Oh my God. What do you mean you don't want to do it? I'm just gonna sit on the ground and do like the dogs then. Then you gotta come and mop up. That's terrible. But yeah, so this is what we want to do, guys. So just let us know and we can get it done. If we can do it, we will. So we are planning on having a show Tuesday night. Sherry, Tuesday night. Okay. Um, we're not going to tell you what it is because right now we probably just, we can pick from so many that can be quick and that's okay. The real deep dive ones are going to be the JFK and the 9/11. Those are going to take us a little bit of time to come up with all of the stuff on it. But we are going to get into those. Chad's over here going, my mind's working. I'm already
It
looking it
just
up.
might
I'm
be
typing
serial
it.
killers. I'm
I'm
just
typing
saying.
it. Yeah.
I am sorry. It's probably going to be serial killers if we don't come up with something.
Oh yeah. The only problem with the serial killers is it was so cool to be able to show the photographs of the autopsies and the, different stuff, the heads and hands they pulled out of the fridge. But we can't
You're right.
show that on here. Unfortunately, it can't come on here. I don't know. Well, and what gets me is it came off of here, didn't it? Didn't we get some of those videos came out of YouTube and Wikipedia?
Hmm.
I think so. So I would think that they could be shown. We just gotta,
Yeah.
we just gotta, we just gotta make sure. I can read the disclaimer, but we just got to make sure that we tell everybody if you got kids, you don't want them in the room when we're playing this one. So, because yeah, we got into some we got into some stuff with some of the serial killers, Jeffrey Dahmer and them, because there's a lot of, if you listen to what the stories actually were, there's a lot of discrepancies in those, a lot. And it's almost like they take certain deaths and they pin them on someone else, and the other person stays out and just keeps continuing it. So it's that whole thing with all the serial killers. That's a mess. That is
And
a mess.
and it appeared to have crisis actors and everything else involved with a lot of these. So,
Yep.
the good news is I don't know. I think they're sociopaths. We can discuss this after that and see what we think. But a psychopath, I think, is really uncommon. Somebody that sits around and wants to like get off on it.
Yeah.
But
And at that time, when
cold-hearted
we had,
killer,
yeah,
they don't sit around like this and chanting and watching The Exorcist when they're on a date with you. You know what I mean? Like
yeah, true.
So but so I think it's good news to know like there aren't these type of people out there that they but I'm not going to say there aren't. That's for us to
Yeah.
decide and then
Well,
that show or not. But
and then when they had
they
that
made it
done,
up to scare us.
they had Dahmer, they had Gacy, they had Son of Sam, they had the Zodiac, all of them in the same era, and Bundy. Okay, they had all of them in the same area. So
Right
I
after
looked.
the CIA started, 1941.
Yes, exactly.
So,
And I looked to see what was going on in America at that
oh,
time. What?
and Sharon Tate, that one.
Yes. with Manson.
Manson.
Charlie Manson, yeah.
Yeah. So I looked to see what was going on at that time in America, and it was, well, of course, it was the end of the Cold War. Now, if you remember correctly, World War II, everybody has the wrong rendition of it. We did not win that war. Us and Russia went in there and they made a treaty with Germany. That's why all of their scientists and stuff were brought here and taken to Antarctica. So by doing this and getting these serial killers out, people were looking over here and not where they should have been with the things they were doing. So everything, when I think of things that happened, you got to look beyond that. You have to look what was happening just before that. Were we in a war? Was this happening? Was that happening? You have to look beyond what they tell you, because that's where they trap your mind. They trap your mind thinking about this is happening over here while they're sneaking around doing stuff over here. They do the same thing today. It's being done to us right now.
Oh yeah.
And
well,
people
like,
don't
or if
realize
someone
it.
does look at them, it's like nothing to see here. Look at this. Look at this over here. Or not us, it's that guy.
Yeah. My actual age is old enough, but my behavior is very mature. Is that going to be an issue with this disclaimer? Chris, I will let it slide. You'll be okay. I'll vouch for you. How's that? It's like taking your mom to the theater with you saying, it's okay. I say that my son can see this movie. So yeah, you'll be all right. But yeah, so we like getting into this stuff. Getting in trouble's kind of a little fun sometimes. Just a little. But it'll be all right. So we are going to go ahead and get off of here. And I'm going to upload this show. And you can find it. I have it on my YouTube, my Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and
Rumble.
Yes. We don't go live on Rumble though, because I keep trying to figure out how. I did it one time and I could never replicate it. So I just do the upload and put it on there so it can be seen on Rumble too. And my dad likes to go and watch it over there because he won't have anything to do with YouTube, but he'll go watch it on Rumble. So, but anyways, all right, guys. I hope you enjoyed yourselves. I hope we kept you entertained. For those of you that were late and didn't get to see the beginning and wanted to see the discrepancies, you can go back and rewatch it and see what's going on there. And if not, we will see you on Tuesday with another show for the deep dive facts. And what we have done is I combined the show that we had on Channel 12 with Beyond the Box. So it's going to be a Beyond the Box, but it'll be the Deep Dive Facts edition. And we have our song, and I can use my song that we had for this one. So I finally got that squared away. But anybody else got anything they want to say? Where to find you guys? Where at, Chad? Your house?
Yeah. And stay warm, those of you that are in the cold.
Yeah, thanks. I'm
you
trying.
know, I mean, hopefully that's easier, not easier said than done.
I just feel bad for the Southerners and stuff that's not prepared for that. I mean, I live in the North, and we were told, just because we live here don't mean we like it or we're used to it. The complaint is that we're all waiting for spring right now.
Yeah. And if you have to, just get naked, get in one sleeping bag. Two
Yeah,
people, one sleeping bag.
You know what? Somebody said that. I had told somebody that. I don't know what we're going to do. We're so cold. People don't realize you have to get your clothes off, because when you
And
have your
then-
clothes off and there's two bodies, the heat generates better and you can stay warm to survive. When
I
you have
guess
your
I'm going to
clothes,
freeze to death. I don't have an extra person.
Yeah.
put
Grab
Kiki
someone, Cherry.
Yeah.
Put Kiki off the street. Hey, you come here. We're getting naked. Get in a sleeping bag.
Yeah,
grab
no.
Put Kiki in the sleeping bag. Kiki will keep you warm.
Yeah, she's not that big.
Well, look. Okay, I've got Putin, who is a lot smaller than Kiki, and he gets in my covers. It's like an automatic sleep, like an automatic think, man. I'm so hot. I wake up sweating. It could be cold because I keep my air conditioner 69 degrees all year round. One day this month, I had to turn the air off and put the heat on for just a little bit to chill off the air. So I sleep better when it's cold. Well, apparently he does too, but he likes to sleep under the blankets where he can stay warm. And man, he just like having a little heater plugged in underneath there. He makes me so hot, but I'm not going to deny him the snuggle time. So that's the way that goes. But all right, everybody, we're out of here. You guys, like always, please be kind to one another. Have a good night.
Good night.
You ever wonder what's real and what's just smoke in the wind? Down here in Texas, we've heard the whispers. They say a president fell in Dallas and the truth got buried with him. They say men walked on the moon, but some folks swear it was all lights and cameras. There's talk of secret deals in desert towns of flying saucers hiding where the tumbleweeds roll. They say the truth is out there, but out here under these white Texas skies, we know the truth ain't free. It's locked up tight behind steel doors and silver tongues. So saddle up, 'cause tonight we're diving deep